What is going on, Clippers fans? Welcome to the New Year's Eve post-game hang. The Clippers just got their asses handed to them by the San Antonio Spurs. Nothing went right. They couldn't win the Wemby minutes. They couldn't win the non-Wemby minutes. They looked tired. They looked bad. I don't think there's a whole bunch to read into this, other than the fact that this team is really going to be very excited when Kawhi Leonard comes back. But I mean, it was great. This was an exhausted team running into a generational player in Victor Wembanyama, he only played 26 minutes in this game, and he had 27, 9, 5 assists, and 3 blocks. A horrible game by the Clippers, kind of all around. Shooting wasn't there. Turnovers were lazy. Like this game went about as bad as you could have thought it would go, which makes sense if you watched what happened yesterday versus the Pelicans. It was not good. If you're new to the show, I'm going to put this out on audio as well. I am Chuck Mockler. Adam Osland and Will Updike are also team. They are, Adam's working right now, and Will is, I believe, unavoidably. But yeah, thank you for joining us. Mark Jag saying first, thanks, Mark. Way to be on the ball. Someone is. The Clippers were not tonight. So in case you missed it, they barely got by the Pels last night, which was a combination of looking tired and the Pelicans just having an unconscious night from outside. They had to play a bunch of minutes. Norm had to play 40 minutes last night. It just wasn't what it was supposed to be against the Pelicans, and it set the Clippers up for failure tonight, basically. Harden and Zoo were over 35 minutes against the Pels too. Chris Dunn had to play 32. This is a tough game to go into, but the Clippers could have been a lot better. I'm not excusing how the Clippers played at all, but that was bad. That was really bad. I like where John is here. Ending the year of over 500 was not on my preseason expectations, but I love it. Yeah, we could take a quick step back from whatever the hell that performance was from kind of all of the Clippers. No one was very good in this game tonight. In the first quarter, James Harden scored 13 of the Clippers' 17 points. Didn't score in the second quarter. Everyone just looked gassed. If you watched this game and you saw that the Clippers were losing the non-Wemby minutes in the first half, it kind of just felt like, oh shit, like this isn't going to be good. I figured there were going to be some people upset. Sorry, Jonah, that's my bad. I figured people were going to be upset about KPJ's performance. 2 games just of inefficient shooting. I believe he was a plus in the Pelicans game, though. And if you are on the Clippers bench and you do have a positive plus minus, that's not the easiest thing to do. He was bad tonight. But that's not why the Clippers lost the game at all. The Clippers lost the game because they were exhausted and no one could hit a 3. 27% from the line. That 27% is a little skewed because Bones went 1 for 6. The starter, everybody was pulled. Everyone who plays meaningful basketball minutes to the point that they could be pulled were pulled like 5 minutes left in the third is when the white flag came up. It was not good. A guy like Zoo, who is usually efficient, was not. And if Zoo is inefficient and no one else is, things are going to be bad. Just not good. Zoo played well against the Pels and then just exhausted tonight. He only played 22 minutes. We saw 7 minutes of Mo Bamba, which was not good. Zach Collins looked great. The Clippers made Zach Collins look so good tonight. You was bringing this up saying Zoo couldn't even score on Zach Collins. You're absolutely right. No one could. It didn't make any damn sense. It just shows the fatigue of this team. They're exhausted. They have OKC on the second, which who knows how that's going to go. I will say the focus the focus clearly is on OKC with how Ty played the minutes tonight. He knew guys were tired. This game was lost. It's not my favorite thing to happen, getting your ass kicked by 40 and then just being like, well, we got to play in 2 days. But now, it shifts. I think it shifts my attention more to the OKC game. I'm like, hell yeah, let's go out and we should be rested, right? Most minutes a starter played was Norm at 26. The starters will be well rested. The bench will be well rested too, because guys like Bones, Kai, Jordan Miller, and Kobe Brown all got over 12 minutes. So everyone's going to be rested for OKC. So let's hope they manage to look good there. Yeah. So the backup center thing, I tweeted this from the Clippers pod account that drunkenly tonight, I'm sure I'm going to bring up how bad the Clippers backup center lineage has been since they basically chose John Wall over Isaiah Hartenstein. It's just been, Daniel Tyson, Mason Plumlee at the same time were the best combination. And even that, what we saw in the playoffs was bad. Yes, cheers. And it's cheers to a good 2025. We're not cheersing to this game. The KPJ thing is weird. Terrence, I assume, is going to have a chance to get some of those minutes if he can show that he can initiate the offense. Bones isn't taking KPJ's minutes. We've talked about that on the show before. KPJ does do things better than Bones that aren't scoring the basketball. But Terrence Mann, I think, should have a shot at taking some of KPJ's minutes, because you just never know what you're getting. It's just so up and down. And I don't know. When he's a plus, he's finding other guys. The game is slow for him, and stuff like that. So, yeah, I don't know. Tonight was a burn the tape game. I don't think too much can be drawn from this. Yes, a fantastic point. Just 4 more days till Kawhi comes. Please, Kawhi, my Lord and Savior. Yeah, there hasn't been any updates on the Kawhi timeline. He's been practicing with the San Diego Clippers during this break. That's why he's not on the road trip with the Clippers. It wasn't like an inflamed injury thing or anything like that. It was just they don't have any time to practice. It's a 3 and 4 on the road, and he didn't have to practice. So let's hope that target date is the same thing. I'm sure we're going to hear some news about it. That Mexican Nara with a great point. What a Clipper New Year. A perfectly fitting Clippers New Year. Not completely unsurprising to those of us who have been here maybe too long, but maybe we saw some of this coming. I don't know. Yes, so Jonah, thank you, brings up a good point about Terrence Mann. He's played point guard and started at point guard for us many times in the past, even though that was a different iteration of this team. Very true. He's more capable at initiating an offense than Chris Dunn. That's not a knock on Chris Dunn overall. Chris Dunn is a much better defender. But in terms of initiating the offense, which does seem to be Ty Lue's biggest worry or thing with whoever the backup point guard is, Terrence is probably a better option than Chris Dunn, and hopefully maybe KPJ. It's going to take Terrence some time, though. He's been off. The conditioning's going to have to get there. And Terrence's return kind of coincides with Kawhi coming back. So there's going to be this minutes crunch coming up that Ty Lue has to figure out. So it's kind of a double-edged sword on this. Mark Jag saying, if you're serious about winning now, KPJ isn't the answer. But if you're playing for the future, then maybe playing makes. So if you're playing for the future, it makes sense to see what you have in KPJ. But they also can't not play him. I know I haven't been a big fan of his minutes, but he's the only one who can initiate the offense. He defends better, and he's a better rebounder than the other backup point guard options right now. Okay, someone's asking what the bench total points were tonight, and they were not good. Amir had 14, which we'll take. Bones had 7. Kobe had 5. It wasn't good. It's also skewed because they played so many minutes. We should look at the starting scorers, because the starting scorers tonight were very bad. Norm had 15 points on 12 shots. Harden had 17 points on 11, so that wasn't crazy. But no one else had more than 7. Chris Dunn only took 6 shots. Zoo took 7, but only made 2. Derek Jones 2 for 5. So like no one could get it going. And it was so the thing. Like, look, you come into this game, and it's clear that Wemby makes a huge difference on and off the court for the Spurs. And when they're playing the Clippers, when Wemby's on the floor, Clippers have to become a perimeter offense, which they're not. They have to get to the paint. That's their whole thing. Drive, kick, swing, paint and spray, whatever you want to call it. When Wemby's out there, there was nothing the Clippers offense could do, coupled with the fact that they were exhausted. So like this was a perfect storm game. I know we were pretty high on the last full episode we did with Adam, Will Updike, and myself, which if you're new to the show, thanks for hanging. It's usually 3 of us. But we're doing a little New Year's Eve hang. But this one, like, it perfect storm to get the shit kicked out of you, which sucks. I don't know. Big things coming in 2025. Supposedly, Kawhi Leonard's return is going to be there. Well, hopefully. So that's a good thing. I don't know. Drop what you're most excited about from the Clippers 2024 so far. Looking at OKC again, I don't. This is crazy. Mark Jag saying Kawhi is becoming a distraction. I hate to say it. Does the fact that he's probably coming back in 5 days change any of that? Because when he's back, he's not a distraction, and that happens in 5 days. So I mean, if it's only 5 days of distraction, I also don't think practicing with Kawhi and playing without him is part of their problem, because they haven't been practicing with him on this trip, and they've only done, it's been 4 5-on-5s practice. No, it's not. That's not part of their problem. They haven't been like complete dog shit. So I just don't think that's part of and I don't think he's a distraction because he's not with the team right now on the road trip. So I don't think he's a distraction. And if he is a distraction, he's coming back in like 6 days. So it seems fine. Clips got the Thunder. They should be rested. Now that they're rested, I'm very much looking forward to this Thunder matchup. We get to see everybody go all out. Again, not a lot of minutes played by the starters because they were bad. It was such a bad, like, Clippers were down 20 at one point. It was like, yeah, they deserve like 20 of these. This wasn't a fluke. The Pels game was crazy. They didn't play well in the Pels game. I thought a lot of that was they were just tired, and they ran into the randomness that is playing the Pelicans, and they're shooting from outside, specifically against the Clippers. And then they run into a guy who is one of the best players in the world in Wemby, and he only had to play 20 whatever minutes. So not the biggest uplift going into 2025, but I believe someone mentioned in the comments earlier the Kawhi's coming back, which feels good. The Clippers do, in terms of strength of schedule, have a fairly easy-ish strength of schedule for the rest of the way to go. Looking at the standings, which are going to change basically like every day now. Clippers are 19 and 14. They're down to the 7th spot. So don't look at the standings too much, because again, every day they're going to change. I'm saying this partly to myself. Clippers are a game back of the 4 seed right now. Is kind of just for context, right? So the 4 seed, the 4 seed and the 9 seed are separated by 3 games. So the Clippers most likely are going to be terrifying us standings wise and oscillating between the 4, the 4 and the 8, or the 4 and the, kind of the 4 and the 8 would be my guess. But that's what happens. 19 and 14. Oh no. Dog 8 saying this game sent me into depression. Don't be depressed from this game. Don't be that depressed from this game. If they get washed by OKC, next week. What day is it? It's Tuesday. If they get washed by OKC, then maybe slip into a depression. But this game, this game shouldn't have sent you into a depression. I don't think. Who am I to comment on your depression? But there's other things. Not this game. Nick Ramos saying, give me all the post-L overreaction trade talk. First of all, we got to trade the whole starting five. No one's actually brought up trades so far, which I appreciate. There's no one really to trade for on the Clippers. That's like an interesting trade. We talked about this a little bit on the last episode. Where it's just like the highest trade value is Norm, and I don't think they're trading Norm because I'm just thinking about the locker room reign of basketball on court aside. Trading Norm, I think, would destroy this locker room. Mark Jag with an interesting comment saying, I think the starting four should be Harden, Norm, Kawhi, Zoo. The fifth spot should be situational. For example, they should start Dunn versus the Hawks. We might see something like this. I don't think it's that crazy that we might see this sometimes. Derrick Jones Jr. is undersized for the four by about like 4 inches. I'm like, I think like 20 pounds based on the average power forward. But we'll see. It's going to take, I don't know. Ty Lue wants less shit to figure out. I think rightfully so as the head coach. So I don't know how much we'll see that. We might see it in the beginning a little bit. Maybe they switch some stuff around. But it's interesting. There is kind of this weird minutes crunch coming up. I'm not saying like this that some guys, should be out or whatever, but you just look at the rotation, and I don't know if Ty Lue wants 11 guys in it. They have to play sparingly one of the backup fives. Bamba, not good. Kai Jones also not very good, but here we go. I love this from El Goonie. Can we go get someone like Jakob Poeltl or another mid-ass backup five with a Bones, PJ, and Kai Mo package? I hope so, because I love the qualification here. The mid-ass backup five. That's all the Clippers need. The level of backup fives is like there's such a cliff pretty quickly when you start looking at backup centers where like there's just guys who are like, the Clippers have 2 on their roster right now who are not good. So it's like, I don't know. Let me look up Poeltl's contract. He's making kind of a weird amount. I don't think they could get Poeltl's making like 20 mil a year. So I don't think that's crazy. Okay, so Poeltl's out. But I like where your head's at, El Goonie. Jonah is the best saying, sorry to backtrack, but thoughts on the defensive scheme to not let Zoo guard Wemby. They had to do something. It's a scheme that you're only really going to see against the Spurs because he handles the ball so much and stuff like that. But you got to try something, right? Because Wemby pulls your center out. You know what I mean? So if Zoo's on Wemby, Zoo's pulled out, and then the rim protection is just even worse. And so you kind of have to have this weird, it could be anybody, but I don't know. It didn't work. I'll say that much. But that is a great question, Jonah. Thank you. Thank you for asking that. I don't know. It didn't work tonight, so who knows? They play the Spurs like 2 or 3 more times, I think, which kind of sucks. So I guess, that's interesting. We got a couple more minutes here, and then I'm going to cut out because I do have to get ready to ring in the new year. I hope everyone's having an enjoyable new year. I hope everyone has a safe time. If you're going to a house party, if you're going to a bar, be safe. I like this point by that Mexican Nara. I think a second ball handler should be the focus for a playoff run. I think I agree. I think we're going to see they're going to give Terrence a run at that. Like, hey, it's your turn, man. Now, of all the times that Terrence has come in clutch playing a random position for the Clippers, being able to be a trustworthy secondary ball handler would be his most valuable switch at this point. Because this Clippers team You bring Kawhi Leonard back, and you look at the roster and how Ty Lue has been coaching this year with the help of JVG. This is an annoying-ass team to play in the playoffs. If they get the 4 spot, home court with the Intuit Dome, that'll be crazy. I feel a lot different if they're a play-in team just because of the track record of success with play-in teams. But if they're not a play-in team, they have a shot at being incredibly annoying and a very difficult out, which is an awesome place to be because they can play freer, all that good stuff. But yeah, I totally agree with the secondary ball handler point. Secondary ball handler and the backup 5, because we got to give Zeus some rest. Zeus looked tired. It's just kind of a thing about Zoo. You got to deal with it, which sucks because he gets a little gassed sometimes. But that's where we're at. It's on to Oklahoma. I haven't talked about that matchup a bunch because I don't have the 2 other experts here with me as usual, William Updike and Adam Oslin. But everyone should be rested. Obviously, it's a tough matchup. Shea had 45 the last time played the Thunder. We need a bounce back from everybody in this game. And we need a bounce back. Harden's turnovers have been crazy the last couple games. He had a 1-to-5 assist to turnover ratio tonight, which is terrible. Just bad. And that can't happen against OKC. Someone is putting a French comment up. I do not know French. I apologize. If there's anything negative on here, don't know what to tell you. But I appreciate you watching. Thank you for watching. I'll get the translate on this and we will respond over in the comments. Let us know in the comments what you think is going to happen against the Thunder. Really hope they get the win. Again, the Clippers will have rest for the starters and most of the core bench guys. And then after that OKC game, we're getting closer and closer to Kawhi Leonard's return. After OKC, then the target date of January 4th on Saturday. Kawhi Leonard, as of now, as of 6:38 p.m., we should have some news soon, hopefully, on that. So yeah, here's to the Clippers doing everything the opposite that they did tonight versus the Spurs when they face up with the Thunder. Thanks for hanging out. Thank you for a wonderful 2024, just from myself, Will, and Adam. Thank you all for subscribing. Thanks for hanging out on these live streams. Check out our other episodes. Oh wait, here we go. We got the comment in English. Thank you so much, Jean-Yan. Jean-Yan said, first of all, I don't understand why the Clippers play, travel, and play on New Year's Day. Agree. I find this very perverse. Agree. Then regarding Mo Bamba, despite his large size, he's not good. I'm using perverse more in 2025. Thank you so much for this. I genuinely appreciate it. As I was saying, thank you to everyone for hanging out and supporting the show this year. Here's to bigger and better results for the Clippers in 2025. Kawhi Leonard's coming back, which is awesome. Terrence Mann's coming back, which is going to be a huge boost to the bench. Don't forget how good Amir and Terrence looked off from the bench before he got hurt. From our hearts to yours, happy 2025. Hope your New Year's is wonderful and safe.